Good morning. I am Eric D. Simmons, Mayor of the City of Greenville. Today, I am joined by Greenville Fire Chief Ruben Brown, local fire marshals, State Fire Marshal Quincy Newsom, I know he's somewhere on the ground, Greenville Police Chief Delano Wilson, Assistant Police Chief Michael Merchant, Washington County Sheriff Milton Gaston was here, but he went back to the crime scene, but we have Captain Cahill from the Sheriff Department here, District Attorney Dwayne Richardson, and representatives from Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearm, FBI, and also MBI, which is Mississippi Bureau of Investigations. At 9:16 p.m. last night, the Greenville Fire Department was dispatched to Hopewell Missionary Baptist Church here in Greenville, located at 640 North Gillespie Street in Greenville, Mississippi, in regard to a reported church fire. 4 units responded to the scene to discover a church fully engulfed in flames. The church was vandalized with the words, quote, "Vote Trump," unquote, on the side of the church. We have contacted local, state, and federal authorities of this hateful and cowardly act. This matter is being investigated as a hate crime. This act is a direct assault on people's right to freely worship. Moreover, this matter is being investigated with all deliberate speed, and we will not rest until the culprit is found and fully prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Given that this matter is under investigation, we are limited to what we may disclose at this time. I can tell you this: we have a great team working to solve this crime, and together we will solve this heinous, hateful, and cowardly act and crime. So I'm asking if you have any information regarding this church burning that took place last night here in Greenville, contact 662-378-1616. That number is 662-378-1616, and also 662-378-TIPS, 662-378-TIPS, and the numbers for TIPS are 8477. We now will have remarks from our Fire Chief, Ruben Brown. Chief Brown.
Good morning. As the mayor stated, the call came in at 9:16 p.m. 4 units arrived on scene. The first arriving unit advised that they had heavy smoke and flames coming from the structure. A second unit brought in a supply line and supply of water. The fire was extinguished primarily within 12 minutes, but it took an additional hour and a half to do salvage and overhaul, also to extinguish hotspots. Upon the initial investigation, it was found that the fire sustained heavy fire, water, and smoke damage primarily in the sanctuary of the church. It was heavily charred from front to back. Further, in the rear of the church, it was found that the pastor's study in the kitchen area sustained heavy heat and water damage and smoke damage in those areas also. Again, the church was found to be vandalized on the right side of the church. The fire marshals, our state fire marshal, our 2 local fire marshals, and our arson investigators were called out to do a preliminary investigation. The fire chief, the police chief arrived on scene along with his investigators. I initially contacted Mayor Simmons. He came out and he greeted the bishop of the church, Bishop Green, and congregation members that was assembled there at the church, and so we met with them. Again, the fire is currently under investigation, and we have members of the state and local agencies to help us investigate this fire. At this time, I would like to turn it over to the police chief of Greenville, Chief Wilson.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. At 9:16, when the call came out, police units responded to assist the firefighters to contain the scene and help and assist in any way they can with the crime scene and the fire. Once it was discovered that the church was desecrated, investigators were dispatched. The investigators have been in the area all night, pretty much, and all morning, trying to collect any evidence that that we can use to try to prosecute whoever has committed this crime. We're going to do everything that we can to assist any agency, including outside agencies, federal agencies, any resources that we can use to try to solve this crime. We're going to use those resources. And at this moment right now, they're interviewing possible witnesses and just trying to track down any leads that we can to try to help solve this crime. We're going to give Chief Brown every resource that we have and every investigator we have to try to help him bring a resolution to this case. So that we're going to do everything we can to assist every agency that's involved in this case. I'll turn it back over to the Mayor.
Thank you, Chief. We also have with us today the pastor of this church, Hopewell Missionary Baptist Church. Pastor Carolyn Hudson is here. Pastor Hudson, please, if you would like to speak.
First of all, with all that has gone on, we still give God the glory, and we give him the praises, and we give him the honor because he's still God. The act that has happened have left our hearts broken, but we are strong together. And we do believe that God would allow us to build another sanctuary in that same place, because our church was a historic church. It had been there for over 111 years, and our hearts are broken. But we are not angry, but our hearts are broken, and we are saddened about what has happened. But we do know that all things work together for the good, for them that love the Lord, who are called according to his purpose. So y'all continue to pray for us, and we've had many people in the community who have come out and offer their assistance. So we thank God for all.
We're now turning, open it up for questions at this time from the media.
Has there been any kind of history of any vandalism or any attempted vandalism at the church prior to yesterday?
They haven't, not that I know of.
Had, at any point in time, given what was written on the side of the building, at any point in time, has there been any type of political statement made by the church or the church leadership?
No.
Are
Any
there any suspects at all reported at this point in time?
Not that I'm aware of.
Right now, at this moment, the investigation is still very fluid, and we don't have any suspect at this time. We are possibly talking to a person of interest, but at this moment, we have no suspects.
Any idea why this particular church was targeted, and was there surveillance video by chance?
There wasn't any surveillance video that we know of this time. We've been scouring the area trying to find any home that has surveillance. So any neighbor of the church that's in that area, if you do have surveillance, please make contact with the Greenwood Police Department or the Greenwood Fire Department or any agency that's working this case. As of right now, we have not discovered any surveillance. I can tell you that much.
I know I asked specifically about their church, but has there been any other vandalism in the community, at another church, at another business, anything that anywhere compares to this?
We have had an incident the mayor's going to talk about, but as far as the church at this time, there's nothing of record that we have against
On or about September 11th of this year, the mayor's office was notified of the words N-I-G-G-E-R vandalized on the boat ramp here in the city of Greenville. We were advised, and the mayor's office, after talking to several advisors, instructed the Public Works Department to paint over that particular act. There was no immediate danger to anyone. It was right on the heels of 9/11, 15 years from 9/11, and to not disturb the community or sense of community. What the mayor's office instructed Public Works Department to do is to paint over those words that was N-I-G-G-E-R, and that took place on September 11th of this year.
Given those events, what is the racial climate like? I know we're coming here from Jackson. What is the racial climate like here in Greenville in 2016?
Well, Greenville is no different than any other municipality or state across the country. And so racial climate is fairly good. We have several events that we have periodically here in the city of Greenville. The very first initiative that we launched in this mayor's administration was Worship on the Water, that bring the races together, regardless of the denominational lines or the color of their skin. Every fifth Sunday, the races come together on the levee front to worship together. And so we're working together here in the city of Greenville. The people of Greenville, I can say, are resilient people. And we work together here in the city.
You mentioned that you guys are investigating this as a hate crime at this point. Can you tell us how you were able to draw that conclusion?
The reason we label it as a hate crime, we feel that the quote that was placed on the church is basically it's an intimidation of someone's right to vote whatever way they choose to vote. That would be definitely considered a hate crime. As far as it being a racial issue, but it does. I can't say that, but it does. To me, it tries to push your beliefs on someone else, and this is a church, a predominantly black church, and no one has the right to try to intimidate someone and to pressure someone into the way that they want to decide to vote in this election.
Mayor Simmons.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, how are you?
Yes, ma'am. How you doing?
Just want to follow up on that question. Do you see this as part of a pattern that actually surfaced some decades ago in terms of attacks on black churches? And if you do, can you speak to that connection?
Yes, ma'am. We are well familiar that this form of attack on the black church has occurred many years ago to not only intimidate folks to freely worship, but the black church has always been a symbol of the black community for assembly, but more importantly for communication and for strategy in regard rights and civil liberties of rights that was deprived of African Americans and blacks. And so I see this as an attack on the black church, the black community. And so to just bolster what the chief says, it appears to be a race crime because and I was able to walk into this church. I was able to talk to those congregants. I talked to folks who were fearful. I talked to people who were intimidated. I talked to people who, quite frankly, were saddened and crying last night. That should not happen in 2016. It happened in the 50s. It happened in the 60s. But we're in 2016. And that should not happen. And so, I see that as an attack. I see it as a strategy, an evil one, to deprive or intimidate or put in fear or invoke fear in folks' civil liberties and rights that they enjoy in this country, that we all should enjoy in this country. Thanks, Mr.
Thank you.
Was there anyone in the building last night, and how was the fire started?
No one was in the building last night. I took to first the pastor, and the pastor can let you know the last time they were in the building. And then we'll come back to the chief to talk about what source of origin he may have. All right, so Pastor, the last time you all were in the church.
The last time we were in the church was 12 noon to 1 o'clock on yesterday.
Again, I had my arson investigative team on scene, and the cause and origin of the fire is currently under investigation. We did take some initial samples last night, and we'll continue after this press conference is over and start a more aggressive investigation.
There's approximately 200 members.
Take one more question.
Social media, there has been, it's definitely blown up on social media from this morning. And a lot of people are saying there's a sense of division. A lot of residents here in this community are saying there's just a spirit of division. What are some words that you just want to say to the community after experiencing something like this?
But what we have to do is come back. And I would just piggyback on what the pastor said. The only thing that conquers hate is love. And what we have to do as residents of this community is to come together and show love and just decent respect and dignity to each other. You know, the golden rule I always go back to: love thyself, love thy neighbor as thyself. And so we have to treat each other in the community that way, but just not this community, but treat each other every day of our lives the way we want to treat ourselves. And so if there is any resolve, I would say, or any encouragement, I would say, let's treat each other like we want to. Thank you so much for the question. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we are live at the Greenville Fire Department. I'm walking away quick to update you on what we've been able to hear. So far, what they are telling us is that they are investigating this as a hate crime. There was no one in the building at the time of the fire. They tell us, though, that the building is destroyed, and that is a century-old church. We heard from some members of the church and actually the pastor there, too. Right now, a lot of them say they are fearful. Some of them are sad, obviously, by what's going on. So far, they do not have any surveillance video. They are canvassing the area, asking homeowners to see if they have surveillance videos that were going at the time. They do not have any suspects either, but they are working this case aggressively to try to figure out how that fire started and who was behind this. We are in Greenville now, and we'll keep you updated throughout the day on everything that we're able to find out.